When we buy a perfume, are we actually just buying the perfume because it smells good, or are we buying the perfume mainly because we want to be perceived in a certain way? We may want to buy it because we want to be perceived as the type of person who leaves an impression in a room before we've even had the chance to say anything. Same with a designer item, same with maybe a gym membership. We don't just want to sign up to the gym because, yes, we want to work out, we want to lose weight, but we want to also be perceived as someone who takes care of our health, who prioritizes our fitness, who prioritizes our wellness, who is disciplined, who is consistent, right? So, same thing with honestly every single thing that you sell and every single thing that we've actually been sold to. A lot of the times, we're not just buying something mainly because it's good and something that we need, but also because it associates us with a certain identity. Same thing with books specifically, right? Yes, we buy books to read them and we want to educate ourselves, but we also want to be perceived as someone who is smart, who is disciplined when it comes to our learning, and be perceived as someone who actually takes reading or like building our knowledge and skill sets like really seriously. Now, I want to show you exactly how this tactic was used on me when I signed up to my own gym and how you can actually apply this into your business so that not only are you having sold out launches, but you're also having a cult like following of people who are sold before you've even pitched by your words alone. Because once you understand sales psychology, your content basically sells itself. You don't have to constantly be sending hey girl DMs, or you don't constantly have to be handling objections in order to sell. The concept is very simple. Now, I'm going to take you guys through a story time around the time when I signed up to my gym around 2 years ago. Now, 2 years ago, I wanted to sign up to this like newer gym around my area. And the first thing they asked me is actually very genius as well. They're like, wow, like you're already pretty fit, you're already in shape. I'm very curious as to like why you want to sign up with our gym specifically and why you even want to like choose to sign up for like an entire year now, like in the midst of summer. Very smart, right? Because they're not selling themselves to me first. They're actually asking me to sell themselves to them. So I proceeded to explain around how I want it to be in a certain X, Y, and Z way by December time. And I also wanted to share with them like my goals and things like that. And they're like, wow, like you are so disciplined. Not only do you run a business, but you're also super disciplined and consistent with your health. Like you literally seem like the type of person who doesn't allow failure to even enter your consciousness. You look like the person who doesn't give up. You seem like the person who is very persistent, very consistent, very disciplined, and even shows up to the gym early in the morning, right? And I was like, yeah, like I plan to show up like at 5 a.m. in the morning. They're like, wow, like that's actually insane and that's actually super admirable. Not a lot of people are like you, but there are other people in the gym who are also like you at the same time. So I think you would blend in perfectly. With that being said, because you are someone who is so disciplined and you just really like take like your goals seriously, we want to actually reward you with something. We want to reward you with this freebie if you decide to go all in and take action like right now. And I'm assuming you probably will, considering like your mindset already. Like, so what do you say about this? And I was like bamboozled. I was like, damn, like they're really good at what they do because I'm already sold at this point. Not only is your facility amazing, but you also know how to sell to my subconscious. And you're also offering me freebies. Yeah, I'm sold. So I signed up for an entire year, but basically it's because they mastered the art of selling to their subconscious. When they were selling to me, they basically bypassed my logical mind and they focused on the exact internal buying triggers that they know would actually move the needle forward. Now, it's a very smart way of selling because they're leveraging labeling and they're also leveraging identity-based sales. Same thing I said with the point around in the first part of the video. When you buy a perfume, when you buy a gym membership, when you buy a designer bag, when you buy books, or even when you buy online courses, you don't just buy it because you need the thing. You buy it because you want to be associated with a certain identity. You want to be perceived in a certain way. I wanted to be perceived as someone who consistently follows through. I wanted to be perceived as someone who is disciplined, consistent, who actually follows through with my goals and doesn't allow failure to enter my consciousness. Hence why I was like, damn, you labeled me and you also boosted my ego. I'm more likely going to act towards it. And that's exactly what you're going to do in your content as well. Another very good way and another great analogy that I love to explain to my clients, and this works all the time, okay? It's called the I want my boyfriend to go to the gym example. Now, let's say you want your boyfriend to go to the gym. He's probably not going to go to the gym If you say something along the lines of, wow, you're not consistent, you're not disciplined, I hate how you're on the couch all day and you say you would do one thing, but you actually don't, it's unattractive, blah, blah, blah. He is more likely not going to go to the gym because not only are you not labeling him, you're not identity based selling him, but you're also digging into his pain points. But versus if you were to say something along the lines of, wow, babe, like I love how consistent, I love how disciplined you are, and I love how you follow through with every single thing that you have set your mind on. It's very attractive. And not only that, it actually inspires me as well to be consistent and to even like follow through with every single thing that I've said on my whiteboard. He's more likely going to go to the gym because you've associated him with a certain trait, with a certain characteristic, and he's more likely going to follow through compared to if you were to dig into a lot of his pain points. Now, here's the thing about a lot of coaches, they don't focus on identity based sales, they don't focus on labeling people, they focus on pain point. Now, pain point, it is effective. Yes, it's proven to work consistently. A lot of the greatest salespeople, in fact, use pain point marketing. But especially if you're selling to women and especially if you're selling to high caliber clients, pain point does not work. She does not want to be reminded of her pain. She does not want to be reminded of her insecurities. She actually wants someone who can actually know the identity that she craves and she is destined to basically hold, and she wants to be associated with it. Hence why a lot of the times, specifically people who are selling you facials, who are selling you workout programs, who are selling you makeup, who's selling you things that could help with your wellness, right? And transformation, they use this exact tactics because they know no one wants to be reminded of their pain. So this is exactly what you are going to be doing in your content, especially if you're selling your offers, especially if you're selling 6-month, 12-month containers, even if you're selling a $22 offer. I use this consistently. I use it all the time. Now, let's say I'm selling you my coaching, I'm selling you my one-on-one containers. I wouldn't focus on pain point. Instead, I would focus on the certain traits that the women in my world have. So that could be an example of someone who goes all in, someone who is relentless with working on herself, improving her skill sets, investing in herself, and actually taking her business to the next level, right? Someone who doesn't allow her mood to dictate whether she posts that day or not, because she knows that in order to scale her business, she has to separate her personal life and how she feels behind the scenes with business, because business is a responsibility. She's someone who doesn't have the victim mindset. She is not a red flag client. She knows that every single setback, every single failure is actually a setup to make her success even more, because that is something that is crucial when it comes to scaling your business. No one is going to scale just going through the high road. You are going to get obstacles along the way, and it's up to you and your perception around it as to the amount of success that you are going to see, right? She is the woman who makes it a standard to do X, Y, and Z. She's the woman who makes posting every single day, whether it's through her emails, a story, or her content on her main grid or trial reels, as the baseline. Like, she doesn't even negotiate with that, right? Like, she does not applaud herself for doing the bare minimum because she has insanely high standards and she consistently stretches herself. She loves meeting her edge. She loves stretching herself. She loves like even going to the gym and training until failure, because that is the type of mindset that she has. So that would be all the characteristics that I would lay out before even pitching my container when it comes to me, whether it's selling on emails, when it comes to selling on stories, when it comes to selling on my main grid, because I want to make sure that I'm associating her with a certain identity before I actually sell her the thing itself. This is going to be way more effective, and I would love to create a video on this around the entire buying process, because trust me, there is an entire buying process, okay? You're not just going to pitch and hope that they buy. You have to actually have a whole psychological process that's laid out step by step, that's designed to actually collapse the buying timeline, but at the same time, dismantle objections and actually drive her to a purchasing process. But hopefully, so far, what I'm explaining to you makes sense. And what I actually want you to do by the end of this training is to focus on grabbing a notebook or a pen or paper and writing down all the characteristics that your dream client has. And you can think back to the past clients that you've worked with. Maybe it's you are your own dream client. Maybe it's like, someone that you've talked to. What are these certain traits that you're looking for? And make sure that you actually incorporate this into your content every single time. Trust me, this is going to make the biggest shift. And I want you to be bold. I want you to be audacious with your opinions and with the certain traits. Is it going to repel certain people? Hell yes. But that's like the entire point of you doing this exercise, because in order to attract, you also have to repel. And this is a perfect, what I like to call, filtering system when it comes to your content, just so you're making sure that you're actually allowing the right caliber of clients to enter your paid spaces. A lot of the times, the reason as to why you're attracting victim and red flag clients is because you are not making it clear who you want to enter your world. You're not making it clear what caliber of clients you want to work with, and you're speaking to everyone. But when you are being ultra clear around labeling and who you tolerate and don't tolerate when it comes to working together, that is when you're going to see the biggest shift in the people who enter your DMs. This is also the reason as to why I consistently have people coming into my DMs already sold into my containers, people who don't need convincing, people who don't throw me objections, people who are sold before the pitch, people who are simply coming into my DMs just confirming their spot, because in my content I've labeled them as a certain character, as the person who doesn't throw objections, as the person who makes decisions fast, as the person who doesn't treat every investment as a liability but something that would 10x their business. I label them as someone who walks into every single container telling themselves, I am going to be the best testimonial and success story to walk out of here. Hence why I don't attract those victim clients. I attract people who don't only say they're all in, but they actually are ready to go and they actually act like it. So apply this and let me know how everything goes. But I really hope that this training does give you this peace of mind and this clarity around how you can sharpen your message so that you can turn 5 months of maybe into I'm all in, shut up and take my money, send me over the link. And I cannot wait for you to apply this, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video.